Hey, everybody, what's going on? Jeff Rinker, another episode of the Daily Ticket. This one for a Thursday. We're close to the weekend. It is gorgeous outside. I played golf yesterday. I got 9 holes in at Rackham and Royal Oak. You walk right on. It was $20. Got some exercise. Oh, baby. It was delightful. It was absolutely splendid. I played like shit, but man, was it amazing. Going to try to do it again today. By the way, I usually don't do this, but I kind of feel like sometimes I want to give you more than just a sports take that might be stupid, that might leave you wanting to call me a moron. Like yesterday's sports take with Javier Baez, the majority of you people are like, you're a dumbass if you think Javi's going to be any good. I get it. I expected that. But every now and then, I would like to give you more than just a sports take. I'm going to try something. And if it works, maybe we'll do it every now and then. If it doesn't, I'll never speak of it again. We're going to call it Jeff Rieger Suggests. I suggest to you something that I find absolutely amazing, and I suggest you try it. And we'll start with Curb Your Enthusiasm. Do you watch? If you watch, you already know how brilliant it is. The funniest fucking show on TV, bar none, hands down. Every TV show, it seems like these days, is murder, is sex, is action, it's nudity, it's cursing. I mean, pretty fucking good, right? Like, I love all that stuff. Who doesn't like that in their movies and TV shows? However, Curbed is hysterical. The last episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, I don't want to be one of those guys that gives stuff away, that spoils it for you. Then you're going to hate me forever. You might already fucking hate me, but you'll definitely hate me if I give away the latest plot of the Curb Your Enthusiasm episode 3 of the last season here. It came out on Sunday. You should have already watched it. If you haven't watched it, I'm not going to give it away. But the funniest episode of TV in my life. You ever watch a TV show and you laugh uncontrollably, waking up the people in your family? I watched it at like 2 a.m. on Sunday. Happened to be up. I'm like, oh, Curbed is out. Let's take a watch. Unbelievable. Absolutely hysterical. If you don't watch, I am doing you the biggest favor of your life. Other than maybe paying off your house or your cars, I am giving you 12 to 13 seasons of television. That's how many seasons there are. If you've never watched, even if you did not like Seinfeld, I urge you, maybe you've never seen Seinfeld, maybe you're too young, I urge you, watch it. You'll be watching forever. Each episode's like 30 to 40 minutes. Every episode guaranteed at least one hearty belly laugh. Just sensational. The last episode, funniest shit I've seen in quite some time. I can't wait to talk about it. In fact, if you'd be so kind in the comment section, let me know if you've already watched it so I can talk about it, because the only thing better than watching it and laughing your ass off about it is discussing it with other people. All right? Cool. Good deal. It's called Jeff Rieger Suggests. If this works, if you like it, I'll suggest something new next week. I got all kinds of stuff that I love. Anyway, let's get into it, shall we? Because big topic on radio this week has been Brad Holmes, the GM for the Lions. It's been Scott Harris, the president of baseball operation for the Tigers. Wojo and I had a great question on the show. This was, I want to say, Tuesday. I give all the credit in the world to Wojo for thinking about this. We talked pre-show, like, what are we going to talk about? It's slow on sports right now. Nobody really cares about baseball yet. I think the offseason in football hasn't really taken off yet. We're in one of those spots where people aren't really passionate about much. I mean, unless you're upset that Michigan State lost to Iowa, you're one of those people that you think Tom Izzo should be fired or finally call it quits. I mean, I'm not one of those guys. I watched the game. I think Tom Izzo's fine. I'm not going to call for him to be fired, nor should he step down. I have my reasons. We can do it in a later podcast. But we are in kind of a dead zone, a weird zone. There's not a whole lot to talk about. So Wojo came up with the question, and I do think it's brilliant, and I'm super passionate about it. He said, hey, Rieger, who needs to be more urgent? Brad Holmes or Scott Harris. Now, Brad Holmes has already gone out to the media and essentially said, don't expect anything big. Now, maybe he's just talking, but man, are there some good free agents available to make this defense even better. By the way, there was another article written about Chris Jones, how the Lions could be a landing spot if the Chiefs don't franchise him. He would, of course, be my number one want. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's unrealistic. I don't think the Lions will pay his price. But what about Danielle Hunter? He can't be franchised. Could you imagine him on the opposite end of Aiden? He's 29 years old. You give him a 4 or 5 year deal. You got yourself legit ability to get to the quarterback. I would say that would be rather aggressive by Brad Holmes. Holmes already told you, pretty much cryptically, but he said it. We're not going to be crazy, super aggressive in free agency. We're going to sign our own guys. We're going to draft. We're going to develop. We'll make a couple tweaks here and there, a couple moves, but don't expect anything crazy. But yet there's some really good players that could be had in free agency that would make this defense so much better. Should he be more aggressive? Should he be more urgent? Or should it be Scott Harris? Scott Harris, and we've talked about this, the president of baseball operation for the Tigers. I am pretty dismayed early on with the Tigers. And I've done podcasts about this. There are so many free agents out there that could help this team's offense in a winnable division. Matt Chapman, we've talked about, the third baseman coming from Toronto, still unsigned. Gold Glove winner, best defensive third baseman on the market. Guarantees you 27, 28 homers a season. Yeah, last year he only got 17, but he had a hurt middle finger. I'm not going to give you the middle finger. That would be disrespectful. He's a Scott Boras client. You don't have a third baseman. I don't know what it would take, but I do know if he's still a free agent right now, as spring training is underway, things probably haven't gone great for him. He's out there. Cody Bellinger is 28 years old, silver slugger, killed it last year, can play whatever position you need. Any position in the outfield he can do. You want to put him at first, go ahead, put him at first. You want to DH him, go ahead, DH him. He, too, is a Scott Boras client. JD Martinez, we talked about him, 35 years old, still on the market, can DH every day, hit you 33, 34 dongs a season. He could help your offense. That offense, by the way, is 28th in baseball. I mean, even a guy like Trevor Bauer, who many think is a scumbag. He wants to play in the bigs again. He's been exonerated. I'm not saying he's a great guy. However, he wants to play. And he said he doesn't care about money. He just wants you to give him an incentive-laden contract so he can be back in the bigs. And he vows to you that he's going to prove he can still pitch. Now, he's most recently pitched in Japan. However, the last time he pitched in the bigs was for the Dodgers. He had like a 2.34 ERA. So it was pretty good. Imagine him in that rotation. Be pretty good. So my point is, there's a lot of guys still out there. And Scott Harris has already told the media, he's told everybody, we ain't making any moves. We're dedicated to the guys we have. We like Torque at first. We like Riley Green. We like Kerry Carpenter. We like Colt Keith. We like our third baseman. Who is their third baseman again? They don't have a fucking third baseman. Zach McKinstry? Matt Vierling? The Tigers play in a division that you feel if they would make a tweak or two, a move or two. For me, it's Matt Chapman at third and JD Martinez for an extra bat as a DH. You do that to improve your 28th ranked offense. Don't you think you could win this division? For me, it's about the fans, people. I don't think Scott Harris wants to compete in this division. I think he's more concerned about finding out who can play. But I think about you. I think about me. It's been a decade. I don't fucking want to wait anymore. You play in the AL Central. It's very winnable. You've gone out, you constructed a decent starting rotation. You got yourself a pretty nice bullpen. Go get some bats and win this damn thing. So when you ask me, And I ask you, who needs to be more urgent? Is it Scott Harris or is it Brad Holmes? For me, the answer is both. However, if I can only choose one, I choose Harris because I trust Brad Holmes. And yeah, I don't love the way he's going to go about his business. I don't love the fact that there's difference makers out there in free agency that he'll probably think are too expensive, not worth overpaying to come to Detroit. He's going to want to do it his way. But you know what? Up to this point, his way has worked. He didn't want Chase Young. Chase Young took a couple plays off. Was it the right decision? Was it the wrong decision? He said, if a guy doesn't fit our culture, he ain't coming here. And so far, and yeah, they lost in the NFC title game, a game they should have won. So far, it's worked. First time in my lifetime, your lifetime, you got a guy that has a plan, that knows what he's doing, and in just 3 years, he's found a way to get it done. So for all the people that want to say, oh my God, Brad Holmes, you got to get moving, baby. I mean, I understand the sentiment. However, I'm going to trust the guy because he's been so damn impressive. I'm going to give it a chance to work. So if he seems like he's being underwhelming this offseason, I'm going to be like, okay, he's still Brad Holmes. He brought you here. I trust the guy. Scott Harris, on the other hand, I don't trust at all. Scott Harris, to me, is committing an irresponsible act, if you ask me. Like Scott Harris already got owned in his first chance to trade a big chip in Eduardo Rodriguez. Remember that at the deadline last year? Eduardo duped him, everybody wants to say. But the funny thing about it is, Scott Harris's responsibility was to trade a guy that you knew wasn't going to be here this year. And he couldn't do it. And he did not even get a compensatory pick for him because of the contract that he was signed. And all the people sticking up for him, but it was Erod's fault. Fuck that. Erod had played the mandatory time to have a 10-team no-trade list. Scotty Harris knew that. He failed trading Erod away. And that's fine. A lot of people are like, whatever. He's a beginner. I'm not going to hold him to it. Erod was being a jerk. That's fine. I think it's a big deal. You don't think it's a big deal. That's cool. But now let's layer this offseason. He's done nothing. He got Kenta Maeda. He got Mark Canha. Who am I missing? Another starting pitcher. That's it. You're talking about an offense that isn't very good. You're talking about a bunch of young guys expected to play big-time roles if you are going to win the division. But the thing that really irks me the most is you can have your cake and you can eat it too. I really do believe that. If you make a couple of signings and you have the money to make signings, then you can take your offense and propel it to be, what? Dare I say 15th in baseball? Maybe 18th in baseball. You're currently 28th in baseball. Like, you have a chance to make things better this year, to do right by the fans and try to win the division this year, and also see who can play and watch your minor league system and worry about developing guys down the line. You can do both. So who needs to be more urgent? Scott Harris. Scott Harris needs to be more urgent. And if we're stuck in June and July and this team can't hit, and they're pitching their asses off, that's going to be really disappointing. But unfortunately, it's going to be like the last 3 years. Go get some bats. Go be aggressive. Go be urgent. The answer is Scott Harris needs more urgency. But what about you? Answer for yourself. Here's the other thing, by the way. I was listening to The Ticket before doing this podcast. Beanie Howell doing an update for Mike and Rico's show. Do you know that the Tigers are $30 million lighter in their payroll than they were at this time last year? I thought it was 10. Beanie reported 30. Do you know that they're $50 million light on being an average payroll in Major League Baseball? I do believe, and I can't prove this, that if you go to Chris Ilitch and say, hey, I want to sign a couple free agents, I actually think he might do it. But instead, we're forced to read in the paper that, hey, the Tigers got new showers. That was a true title, by the way, in the Free Press. How getting showers means the Tigers are for real. Hey, they got a new team plane. There is not a single soul other than those players that cares about showers or a team play. Go get some bats. They're out there. Make the call. I hear people say all the time, well, if they made the call, the reports would be out there. Scott Harris told you himself he has no interest. He said it last week. We played the cut for you on this podcast. So who needs to be more urgent? Who needs to be more aggressive? The answer is Scotty Harris. What about you? Comment section. Let me know. Speaking of comments, let's read some comments and then we make our way to a Friday. A couple of podcasts ago, I did the podcast on a Dave Burkett article in the Free Press. He talked to Boomer Esiason at the Super Bowl, and Boomer said, listen, if you're going to re-sign Jared Goff, it's going to cost you 4 years, $200 million, $50 million a season. And I asked people, is Goff worth $50 million a year for 4 years? Here's what people are saying. How about this one? All these guys make way too much. It's ridiculous. That's from YouTube, not YouTube. Well, they make what they make. What are you going to do? How about this one? From Chris Deliail, 3954, the people who don't want to sign him either A, will never get past his Super Bowl performance when he was a younger player, or B, can't forgive him for not being a mobile quarterback, or C, feel like paying him too much is going to wreck the balance of the team and lock them in cap hell, as we have been in the past in the Kelvin Stafford Sue years. But given the market value, and given that it's 2024, and given his play the last 3 years, yes, absolutely, you got to pay him the going rate on the market. They're not going to disrespect him, giving all that he's done for the team for 3 years. Furthermore, we have no idea what Hendon Hooker is worth. He might be great, but I wouldn't want to put this team on his back just yet. I like to believe that in every negotiation conversation with the core players on the team is a discussion of keeping the team together by making all parties happy. I think that's common sense. I think it's logical. I agree with you. You need to pay Jared Goff. But not everybody believes it. There was a bunch of comments that are like, no, dude, absolutely not. Like this one from Lion King, 75.99. Absolutely not. Just rewatched the Lions versus San Francisco. He did nothing the entire game. We ran over San Francisco's defense. Goff did nothing the first half. No TDs, nothing. San Francisco stalled out to stop our run second half, and Goff can't beat us, and he didn't. He did nothing. He overthrew, underthrew, made it difficult to catch the pass. The one touchdown was at the goal line garbage, fourth down. Listen, I can keep going. He's not impressed. He's not impressed at all. Stroking threes says draft JJ, trade Goff. And there you go. It's interesting. Half the people that commented were totally for it. Understood the business, understood that's the going rate for a quarterback. A quarterback, by the way, that did a lot for you. And then the other half are like, 50 million? Are you high? No. We'll pass. We'll go find another option. What's the other option? They don't know, but they'll find it. Apparently. That's the daily ticket for a Thursday. Comment. Let me know who needs to be more urgent, more aggressive. Is it Scott Harris from the Tigers? Is it Brad Holmes from the Lions? You know my answer. And let me know what you think about my suggestion to you at the very start of this podcast. Curb Your Enthusiasm, best show on TV. Last episode of Curb, the funniest episode of TV I've ever seen. Do you agree? Have you watched it? If you start to watch it, please let me know how you like it. Catch you tomorrow on a Friday. See you, everybody.